What's up everybody, Maine Fly Guys here with another tutorial. Gonna tie a pretty big bait fish today. Here I have some SF blend, and this is a 5/0 hook. I'm gonna tie it in on top, starting at the back. Now I want the top part to be longer. What I'm gonna do is take these shorter fibers. I'm just gonna get it to where I want it to be. I'm going to take these shorter fibers and I'm going to split them and I'm going to pull them underneath the hook. And I'm just going to catch them underneath the hook. This fly is going to be predominantly on top. All the material is predominantly going to be on top. So from here I'm just going to keep taking strips of white. This is kind of whitish. Not very big, you don't want them to be very thick. You don't need that much material. And what I'm going to do is keep tying them in and flipping them over on the top side. And I want it, you can see it start to sort of take that fish body there. I want, when I go back over, when I flip it back over, I want it to be not as long. I want it to sort of get shorter and shorter and shorter. So I'm going to do that 2 more times. So I'm going to speed it up for you guys. And now I'm just going to put 1 more white section underneath. Again, I'm going to double it over. But I don't want it to be as long as this last bottom section. I want it to be shorter. So make sure that it is shorter. So I find it right there. I want it to be there. You want it to be shorter because it will give, this one's a little long. It will give that kind of false body look to it, that belly, that kind of fish belly. Okay, now this doesn't have any real sort of fish type, but I kind of think of it as, I don't know, a big bait fish in freshwater and a mackerel type sort of bait fish in saltwater. So here I have some natural SF blend and I'm just going to lay it on top, and I'm going to do the same thing, just a really thin, layer on top of this natural, sort of like a turquoise greenish color. And I kind of want it to wrap around the body, not just be right on top, but kind of go into the body a little bit. And then I'm going to do the same thing. Again, you don't want a lot here, but you know, just a little bit. This is a darker green. It's actually SF olive, and I'm going to lay that on top. I want it to be the entire length. I'm not going to fold it over. I want it to be the entire length of the fly. And I just want it to kind of cape over. Just want it to kind of cape over, so I come in and use my thumb, and that will give it a dark back. That'll give it this nice dark back appearance that you guys can kind of see there. And make sure that it is nice and tied in right on top. That way it covers both sides equally. SF blend can be a little slippery at times. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a dubbing loop. And if you're going to use these, if you're going to use this fly for, you know, pike or muskie or something like that, I would highly recommend super gluing each of these wraps, or gluing them down with Zap-A-Gap or whatever, because SF blend is pretty slippery. So so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put some red flash into this dubbing loop. Not a lot, and it's going to be pretty sparse. It's just going to give the appearance of gills, kinda. And we're basically going to cover it up. So give that a few spins. See how that looks, not too terrible. Brush it out a little bit. This is just Ice Dub Red from Hairline Dubbing. Really cool stuff. So I'm just going to wrap it forward. I'll do a couple wraps. I only do like 3 or 4 wraps here. Again, you don't want this to be like the main event of the fly. It's just supposed to be a little touch to it. Just to add a little pizzazz to it. So I'm going to brush it out again, just to make sure that everything is in order. That looks pretty good. Alright. So now I'm going to move up just a little bit, and we are going to start making the head. And the head is just going to be from this faux bucktail, and it's going to be a mix of olive and black, just to give it kind of a mottled look. Other flies that I've tied like this, you know, I'll do some bright color or something, but this one I'm trying to get a little more natural look to it. So all I do is I just take a little clump of the black and a little clump of the olive here that I have, about equal parts. Again, if you want one to stick out more, just cut more of it, but about equal parts. And I'll put them together like so, and I'll just kind of roll them around in my finger and shuffle them, kind of like a deck of cards. Just taking some from the bottom, putting it on top, take some from the bottom, put it on top. Can get a little messy, so just be careful, but after, kind of brush it out a little bit after, you get this kind of mottled, you know, kind of neat looking fiber. So I'm going to do this a few times, but basically what's going to happen is we're going to place one on top and one on bottom. So here I want it to go a little bit past the hook. The head I want it to go a little bit past, so this is just about perfect right there. And you really want to cinch it down and keep it on top. Don't let it roll. There will be enough fibers for you that will cover up the sides. So I'm going to do this a few times, and then I'll speed up the little head, the head process here. Alright, so I've mixed up a few of these, and now I'm just going to speed it up for you. I'm just going to go bottom, top, right in the same exact spot. Don't move forward until both bottom and top are on there, and make sure that they are nice and on top. None of the fibers have rolled. See that? None of them have rolled. And I'm going to do 2 sets of these. So I'm going to speed this up for you guys. Okay, so I'm just tying in my last clump here, and you'll notice that it is right at the eye. So what we're going to do, just kind of make sure it's nice and neat and clean. What we are going to do is we are going to fold these back as tight as you can. One on top, one on the bottom. Just fold them back. Move your thread forward out front of them, and you're gonna tie it in right behind the eye and just lock it in there. So So you get this kind of head sort of shape. Because my thread is white, I'm just going to take a Sharpie here and color it green. This is Danville's, I think it's 210 Fly Master Plus. Great for sort of rough and tough jobs. So just pull your hair back, and I'm just going to do a little whip finish. Make sure that it's right behind the eye. You don't want to go on to the eye at all. Okay. So, where are my scissors? So, here's what we have. Now, I want to put big eyes on this. Very big eyes. And we're going to have to do a little trimming. These are the living eyes, the fish skull living eyes, but I'm not going to put them on a fish skull. I just want to put them right onto the fly. Now these eyes, these are, I think they're 15 millimeters, so they are very big, you'll see. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull them back, and I want the head to be the same height as the eye. So when I pull the fibers back, I don't want to pull it back like this and put it on because it'll look stupid. What I want to do is kind of figure out what it should look like. So right about there is about the same width. That looks like a good width. I like to put the eyes on with super glue. I think it's just with a liquid super glue. It dries really, really fast. And what we're gonna do, you'll see in a second, it just helps, just makes things easier. So all I do is take it out and brush on a liberal amount of super glue on the eyes. And then I line it up how I want, making sure that the head is as thick as I want, with the fibers pulled back. And that is pretty good. So it should look something like that, where the head and the eye are about the same. You know, this could be a little tighter, but they're about the same width, or height, I guess I should say. So I'm going to do the same thing with the other side, making sure that the point on the eye, there's a point, make sure that they're facing the same way. But I'm going to do the same thing. Be careful not to get any super glue on your hands. Because that ruins your day. Alright. And this side's always easier because you can kind of use the other side as a guide. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fluff out these sort of parts that we folded back. And what I'm going to do is cut them. And I want to cut them right at the eye. And just keep going through. If some puff up on you, don't worry about it, because we're going to take care of that in a second. But, come on, there you go. But you want to try to cut them as close as possible to the eye. And it'll just make life easier in the long run. Okay. And like that on top, that's not bad. This front side's not great. I could use a little trimming there, but whatever. Alright, we're going to do the same thing with the bottom side. Just kind of pull them out, parse them out, and give them a little snip. Trim it with the curve of the eye. Come on. Okay. So now what we're going to do, it's kind of fluffy right now and doesn't look super great. What we're going to do is cut come in with a super glue, but what I just do is just drop super glue in between it. Drop it in between, up and above, and then you can kind of manipulate the hairs to stay down. This will also secure the eyes a little better. Okay. Come in with a super glue. Kind of give the eyes a little pinch there and just secure everything. The reason I use the bodkin is because I don't like to go with my finger and sort of brush all the erroneous fibers out. So there you go, you have this and it looks pretty good. There might be a few hairs sticking out and you can always trim those off. There may be a little gap in the top between the eyes, and totally fine to just come in with a little UV gel and just fill in those gaps if you want. And here I'm just gonna apparently we're out of that, so let's use a different one. Guess we'll go with Solarez instead of Loon. I have no pick. If I were to pick one, Loon or Solarez, I couldn't do it. I think they're both equally great. So you can just come in and kind of dab it up and fix it up. You could spend a long time making the head really nice and neat and clean, but I don't. I just don't. I think it's a waste of time because I don't think the fish care. So our last step. So here we have this fly. It's pretty much done. I brush it out before I draw on it or do anything like that. So just I have a little brush here and I'll just sort of brush it out just to get any loose fibers out of there. And it's looking pretty decent. Yeah, definitely not too bad. Could have gone a little darker on the top there, but not bad. Alright. Brush that out real quick. Okay, so last step is I take a little Prismacolor black marker here and I do lines down the side. Now you can choose how far down you want to do it. I do it all the way down, and they're not, you know, nothing crazy. It's just a black line. You don't need to spend a lot of time making it super perfect. I guess you can if you want, but again, I think it just adds sort of a striation effect, and I think that the fish really, I really think that it actually catches more fish. I really do. So I just go down on either side and do some stripes, and that's kind of why I said earlier that it gives it sort of a mackerel feel, because these stripes kind of remind me of that. So if you are using it for stripers, you can definitely see how you could adjust this pattern to make it more mackerel-y. And there we have it. Here's our big-eyed baitfish, and super fishy. Definitely one of my favorite flies to use, especially when fish are keen in on sort of bigger fish. There's all kinds of different styles and different sort of patterns that you can play with, different color schemes. So This one has, you know, no flash, but I could have put flash in it for sure, like this one, you know. So this is a great little pattern. Do whatever you want with it, make it your own, but there it is, one of my favorite baitfish patterns. So thanks for watching, guys. If you want to check out more fishy business, you can look us up on Instagram, and please subscribe. We just got 100 viewers, so thank you guys very much. We'll see you next time.